Ageing New Zealanders are heading into the eye of the storm, which the government cannot afford to ignore, says experts, as spiralling costs swallow up super. More people are reaching 65 renting or with a mortgage face high interest rates, insurance, council rates and record rents, all causing a shortfall in the superannuation. The experts believe it's only going to get worse for seniors. With the average rent now close to $600 a week, it can be nigh impossible for a retired person to find that kind of money. Shared community housing is one solution, but it needs sustained funding. There is a registered charity called Abbeyfield, which has 14 homes across the country that has been described as flatting for seniors. Demand for spaces have never been higher. And Abbeyfield's executive director is Susan Jenkins, and she's with us now. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Leah.
How lovely to talk to you. Thank you for being available. Can I first
You're welcome.
tell us a little bit of what Abbeyfield provides and to whom?
Yeah, sure. So, you know how as people get older, sometimes they can be at risk of being isolated. Maybe their families moved away or their neighbourhoods changed, and they can struggle to maintain a household. So what we do, and of course, as you've already mentioned, we are in a situation of housing being extremely unaffordable, especially if you've come into retirement without owning your own home. So what we do is that we build housing that gives each of 12 or 14 people their own private space, but has common areas, and we provide all the meals. So we have wonderful housekeeper cooks that plan and prepare beautiful, tasty, nutritious meals, and our residents sit down together and share in those meals. So that means they not only can they afford to keep a roof over their head, to keep warm and eat well, they stay in better health and are connected to their friends and family and whānau and the community. So, as you said, it's a little bit like flatting for seniors.
Yeah. Are they all paying, I mean, obviously paying something weekly?
Yes.
Is it the same for wherever you are in the country at Abbeyfield, or do you assess what people can afford?
Yeah, it's not quite the same everywhere, because the other wonderful thing about Abbeyfield is that even though we're a national charity, we're relatively small, and so the houses are run by committees of local volunteers, many of them older people themselves, and they are responsible for looking at setting a budget every year, looking at how costs are going, keeping an eye on the level of national super, and making sure that the income, the rental income from our residents, is enough to cover all of the costs, so that we can keep providing this wonderful service. And it's and just to say, it's thanks to their contribution that we can keep it affordable. That's a really important feature.
Because you've got volunteers. Susan, why do you think you're seeing more people over 65 in need of places like this? Because I ask because, there's that thing that people go, the younger generation might go, boomers, you guys are all so rich, you've all retired off into the sun, and go on holiday, do what you want. Why are we seeing more seniors struggling, do you think?
Well, I think there's a lot of people who've experienced life, all of the things that happen to people in life. Marriages break up, you lose money, you lose your job, you have poor health. All of those things can contribute to arriving in your later years without the equity to own your own home.
Yeah.
So I think, as you alluded earlier, this is something that is going to keep growing as younger generations who have been renting can't afford to get on the housing ladder, come all the way through their lives without managing to own their own home. So,
actually,
I mean, we hear a lot about an affordable first home, which is really important, but an affordable last home is also really important.
I know the Housing Minister, Chris Bishop, has said that community housing is a solution. Are you hopeful for some funding? Was that what he was meaning?
Absolutely hopeful for some funding, yes. And look, governments in the past have come to the party. So once, and I will just say, once we've got our house up and running, it is financially sustainable. But the challenge for us is to establish more housing. I mean, as you said, we've got 14, so we have places for about 167 people. But, it's a drop in the bucket. To establish a new house and to keep it affordable, we do need a good portion of grant money to get things going. And in the past, governments of all shapes and sizes have recognised that and made available, sources of funding. So, yes, we are really hopeful that the current government will come to the party with long-term sustainable capital funding to help us play our part in solving this crisis that we're all in the middle of.
Here's a lovely text, actually, Susan, that's just come in and saying, my nana was in Abbeyfield in Palmy until 2009. She was lonely after my granddad passed away. She loved it. She had felt scared on her own, but felt much safer and secure after going there. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, I mean, that's another dimension, that one of security and feeling like you've got other folk around. That is really, really important, yeah.
So long term,
I mean,
Susan,
so another thing to say, it's a rental option. So you don't have to have enough capital. You don't pay money to get in there in the first place. So that's another thing that keeps it affordable.